you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie.
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards.
Misery is a 1990 Stephen King adaptation directed by Rob Reiner, and it stars James Caan and Kathy Bates. We're near the end of November now, and for some strange reason I always tend to watch Misery round about the Christmas period whenever I watch it, and I don't know if that's because of the way the story is set, where it's set, and just the surroundings with the snow, etc. It's got that Christmassy feeling to it, so anytime I watch it I tend to watch it round about Christmas time. After a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realise that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of a nightmare of captivity and abuse. When you get those quiet and isolated movies like Misery, what I do like about these style of movies is the fact that there's a very small cast. I think the smaller the cast in these types of movies, the better feeling of isolation that you get. If you see a big massive cast with lots of characters and lots of actors, it loses that appeal. But with Misery, we're only focused on two main characters. There are some other characters that are secondary characters which are good, but the two main characters in this instance is obviously Kathy Bates and James Caan. There's a few movies that I've watched as a kid and I've loved them, and Misery was one of them, but I think I loved Misery for all the wrong reasons when I was a kid, because when I watched it as an adult and when I watched it the other day to do this review, there's more about the movie that I enjoyed that I didn't notice from when I was a kid. When you watch it as a kid, you're thinking, get out of there, get out of there. You know, this guy Paul, he's stuck in this room, he can't go anywhere, and he's getting Annie to do some things out with this room so he can do certain things in the movie. And when I was a kid I was thinking, why doesn't he just get to go and do this, that and the next thing? And there's certain things that I didn't really understand, but when you watch it as an adult, the things that he says to her, he's manipulating her as well. Obviously she's got him hostage and he didn't really realise that until halfway through the movie, but there's certain things that he gets her to do because he's in control a lot of the time, because he realises that she's a crazy fan and she would do anything for him apart from let him go, but there's a lot of things that she would still do for him even though he's in captivity. So he gets her to go and do things to be part of this book so that she feels that she's part of this story when the story's complete. Stuff like that I didn't really get as a kid. I just thought it was him versus her. He needs to get out of there and she's trying to attack him. But there's more to it, and I'm glad that when I watched it as an adult it didn't lose that fear factor, because it is still thrilling and you do sit on the edge of your seat most of the movie even though you've seen it before, but it doesn't lose that. So for a movie that's 29 years old, I think it's held up really well. In terms of the acting, I think the acting's incredible. James Caan was really good. He wasn't the standout. Obviously Kathy Bates was a standout, and I did think she was amazing when I was a kid. I went to a convention last month and there was this woman dressed up as Annie Wilkes, and I was thinking, wow, that's amazing, and it made me want to watch Misery again. So it's thanks to her that I've watched Misery again. But yeah, Kathy Bates was the standout in this movie. She's not only the best character and the best actress in this movie, she's still, to this day, almost 30 years later, one of the best characters in these horror thrillers. She's that good. And I think because of that, James Caan was outshone in most of the scenes. James Caan was really good. He played an arrogant writer, as an arrogant writer would be, and he played this character where he's thinking, right, thanks for your help, I need to go now, and then when he's realising that he's not getting out of here, the dread in his face was really good. So I think James Caan done a really good job, but I think that Kathy Bates outshone him in all the scenes. I mentioned earlier that isolation is a big part for me in these types of movies, and isolation setting for this movie was great. I like the fact that there's only these certain, there's a couple of houses every couple of miles in these areas, and they've done that well because we had aerial shots of the helicopter just to show how isolated Paul is in this little cottage house, or in this big house, and you see this panning out, and you just see the size of the house, the scale of the area that he's in, and it just shows us that there's no way out unless he can escape. And I think with the added snow to that was great. Rob Reiner directs this movie. Rob Reiner is one of my favourite directors. He directed Stand By Me, and I've never seen him direct this style of movie before. Stand By Me was completely different, and I just liked the style of this movie, the way he directed it. I think it was great, but the biggest part from his directing, apart from the acting, was the location, the setting, and the way the movie was filmed to make it look like a grand movie with this just little area that we're concentrating on. I think that was great. When I look into the negatives for this movie, I don't think there is any negatives. Maybe there's certain things they could improve on had I made the decisions, but apart from that, I think it's a really solid movie with little that I would change. If I had to choose anything that I would change or add on, it would be the interaction between Paul and the people that are looking for him, or people that stumble upon him. Nobody stumbled upon Paul and nobody really interacted with him. I would like to see maybe the sheriff seeing Paul seeing the sheriff, and maybe talking to each other before the sheriff died. But apart from that, no, I don't think I would change anything else. If you're looking for horror thriller movies to watch around the Christmas period that aren't really set at Christmas, or Christmas movies, I would definitely recommend Misery. It's got that Christmassy feeling to it with the snow and the isolation and stuff. But if you've never seen Misery, then I don't know where you've been. But if you have seen Misery, guys, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the movie.
You dirty bird. How could you?
As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.